Good morning, all. Let's all welcome Dr. Nawab Singh again to our sessions, and he's senior scientist and head KVK Dholpur. Sir has previously also delivered lectures with us, and today he's going to deliver a lecture on evaluation of extension research projects. I'll handle the control over to Sir so that he can begin with his presentation. Thank you, sir.
Good morning. Good morning to all. So today we have one presentation on evaluation of extension research projects. In my last lecture, I had no one any presentation due to the very uh, warm temperature and busy schedule in Dholpur. In last week, we have seen the temperature of 48 plus degree centigrade in Dholpur district. Today also the temperature is now about 35 plus. Okay, no problem. Now we can start evaluation of extension research projects. First of all, we have to know what is the evaluation. So evaluation is used selectively to answer specific questions related to design, implementation, and results. You know that every projects having their own designs, implementation, and different types of results for which we have to evaluate the project. It can address three types of questions. These are descriptive questions, normative questions, and cause and effect questions. So why we do the evaluation? See, every extension projects having their own merits and worth. Therefore, we have any projects. And evaluation and extension used to focus primarily on judging a program merits or worth. Evaluation program is a continual and systematic process of assessing the value of potential value of extension program to guide decision making for the program future. Demand of extension programs efficiency, program effectiveness, and public accountability are increasing day by day, and evaluation can help meet the demands in various ways. And these are in planning. For any extension projects to assess needs, there is need of planning to set priorities of that project to direct allocation of resources to guide policy. Analysis of program effectiveness is required to determine the achievements of project objectives and identify strength to determine needs of beneficiaries. Beneficiaries, our respondents, our rural peoples for whom we have implementing the program, and to determine the cost effectiveness of the program, and to assess cause of success or failure of the program, and likewise direct decision making. It is also very important to evaluate to improve program management effectiveness. We must have evaluation of the program and to identify and facilitate needed changes. What are the needs which are required to change in the any program, and to continue expand or determine a program, and likewise to maintain the accountability. First, we have to evaluate the program for different kinds of our stakeholders and different funding agencies, our sources of funds, and to general public also. Accountability is required, and evaluation is also required for program impact assessment to discover programs impact on individuals and on community. What will be impact of our program? Therefore, we must do the evaluation of the extension research projects, and is also required for advocate to gain support from policymakers and advisory councils also to direct attention to needs of particular stakeholders groups. So there is a very important thing is that we must know about the evaluation, what is this evaluation technique, and this today's topic we will discuss what is evaluation, why evaluate. I just elaborated to you, and then role of the evaluator, that is very important. What is the role of evaluator, and what kinds of steps are there in evaluation of extension research projects. So uh, we also have to know when to evaluate. There are several basic questions to ask when deciding whether to carry out an evaluation. If the answer to these questions are no, this may not be the time for an evaluation. Is the program important or significant enough to warrant evaluation? Is there a legal requirement to carry out an evaluation? Will the results of the evaluation influence decision making? This is very important thing for evaluation of any research projects. Will the evaluation answer questions? Yes, this is again very important for different stakeholders. Those are very much interested in the evolution of the programs, and sufficient funds available to carry out the evaluation. This is again, is there enough time to complete the evaluation? So we have to know when to evaluate the programs. And one more thing is evaluator, which is very important. At all the stages of evaluation of the program, the role of the evaluator is very important, and its credibility of an evaluator. An evaluator is judged by his or her competence and personal style. Competence is developed through training and experience. Training and experience of evaluator, which is very important. Personal style developed over time through a combination of training, experience, and personal characteristics. And from where we can gain it? We can gain it from evaluating, experiencing, and doing actual work, whatever we are doing for the evaluation of our projects. Uh, any evaluator requires different types of competencies. These competencies are very much important for evaluator. What are these are the background of program area and capacity to understand the program's contents, goal and objectives. Evaluator must know the what are the goals and what are the objectives of the program, and conceptual skills to design the evaluation. Uh, Evaluator must have the special types of skills which are required for evaluating the projects, and he must have mastery of qualitative and quantitative approaches of evaluating data collection, and basic quantitative and qualitative data analysis skills, and also in report writing and presentation skills. Uh, Evaluator must have some personal styles like communication skills, confidence, strong interpersonal skills, also ability to nurture trust and reports with uh, downward and upward their stakeholders, and sensitivity in reporting. Also, this is very important thing. So we have to know.
Sir, can you resume presenting because somebody started presenting on their own? Just go to the Meet window and then resume presenting. Alt tab to Meet window.
Yes. Is it presenting? Yes.
Guys, how many times do I have to repeat? Please do not start presenting. This creates a problem. Sir, you have muted yourself. You have muted yourself, sir. Unmute yourself. Go to the Chrome window.
Yes.
Unmute. Okay, now go to present now. You would have resumed presenting, dear.
Yes. Presentation, sir.
No. Go there in the Chrome where you are seeing yourself. There at the present now option there would be resume presenting option now.
Resume presentation, no? Yes, yes.
Yeah. Click on it. Yes. Perfect. Now can we switch to the slide we were on already?
Is it visible now?
Yeah, yes, it is.
Okay.
Okay, yes, sir.
Yes. I'm discussing about the role of the evaluator. The role of evaluator is very important. What type of competencies and personal styles an evaluator required? I have discussed to you that evaluator must have background in program area, being evaluated, and capacity to understand programs and conceptual skills, mastery and data collection and basic quantitative and qualitative data analysis skill and report writing and presentation skills an evaluator must requires. And the evaluator must have the personal styles like communication skills, confidence, interpersonal skills, and reports building and reporting. These are very important things for any of the evaluator. Then I would like to discuss the steps which are required for evaluation. There are 10 steps in program evaluation. Program evaluation can be an overwhelming process. This is very important that we have to follow all these steps. So, what are these steps? These steps are identifying and describing the proposed or existing program. A very important thing from which we start our program to evaluate and then come on identifying the phase the program in the type of evaluation study needed. This is also very important because there are different types of studies and which study we need to must be identify and then assess the feasibility of implementation and evaluation. Is there any importance of evaluation of this program or not? Then identify and consult key stakeholders. There are different types of stakeholders, and we have to identify which are important, and then identify approaches to data collection. As we are very much contribute the different data collection techniques, so we have to identify which one is important, and then the data collection technique selection, then population and select sample, and our total population and sample size is very much influence the results of our evaluation of the projects, and then come on step 8, which is collection, analyzing, and interpret the data. This is also a very much conceptual skill of evaluator. Then communicating findings, apply and use of different findings, and we will discuss in detail all these steps. Uh, these are 10 steps. You have to know all these steps. So first one is identify and describe the program to be evaluated. identify and describe the program. You want to evaluate description should include what description include its goals and objectives. What are the goals and objectives of our program must include in description, and then the geographic boundaries, the area of our program, its geographical boundaries in which our program is implementing, and then clientele served, our beneficiaries, our respondents, our villagers must describe, and program funders, our different types of credit sources, and then program staff which are involved in the whole our program. So we have to identify and describe all these things in our first step of describing program to be evaluated. Then we have to know about the second step, which is also very important, program phase and appropriate type of evaluation study. There are a number of types of evaluation studies, like needs assessment, baseline studies, formative uh, evaluation, summative evaluation, and follow-up studies. There are different phases like program design. At designing of the program, we have to select the need assessment. This is the first requirement of any program. When we are going to formulate any program, first of all, we have to assess the need of our participants, need of our respondents for which this program is formed. And at the time of program startup, when you are going to start a program, first of all, you have to do baseline survey. Baseline survey, baseline study. Then at program is going on. At that time, we have to do formative evaluation. And at program wrap up, your program is going to end, it's completed. The program ending stage, we have to do a summative evaluation. And after the ending program, this is not completed, your evaluation study. After ending the program, you have your last program follow-up. At that time, we have to select the type of study of evaluation is follow-up study, which is much more important. But you can experience that in our extension research projects, after completion of the program, we have submit the report and don't go for any type of follow-up. This is not good practice. So all these evaluations are much more important. And as per the stage of the program, we have to select the evaluation study. These are the 5 types of study. The first is need assessment, second is baseline study, third is formative evaluation, fourth one is summative evaluation, and last one is follow-up study. Then type of evaluation studies, why see need assessment, what do we need and why? Need assessment focuses on identifying needs of the target audience, developing a rational for a program, identifying needed inputs, determining program content, and setting program goals. Also, need assessment ask questions about the existing and what is needed. So, at the uh, starting or formation of any program, we have to answer these questions through need assessment, and then a baseline study. Baseline study establishes a benchmark from which to judge a future program or project impact also. The baseline study asks questions about what exists, what is the current status of the program, what is the current level of knowledge, current level of skill, current level of attitudes and beliefs of our audience, our target group, our respondents, our farmers, and what are our priority areas of interventions. which what type of interventions we have to include in our projects. It comes from baseline study. And what are our existing resources? Because we are not complete knowledge about the resources which are available at our respondents or farmers. But with the help of baseline study, we can collect all type of these resources which are available with our respondents of our farmers. In the formative process and developmental evaluation, what's this? It provides information for program improvement, program modification, and program management also. Formative evaluation asks the descriptive questions. What are we supposed to be doing? And what are we doing? Then how can we improve? So these three questions are very important. What are we supposed to be doing? What are we doing? And how can we improve? At the starting, or our program is going on. When our program is going on, we have to evaluate ourselves with the help of formative or process and developmental evaluation. And when our program is going to end, we are going to bind up. Summative impact or judgmental evaluation focused on determining overall success, effectiveness, and accountability of the program. It helps make major decisions about a program's continuation, expansion, reduction, or termination also. So summative evaluation asks the questions about what happened, what were the outcomes, who participated and how, what type of the roles played our participants in the program. Is their participation was active or passive? What were the costs of that program? So such type of questions are required in summative impact and judgmental evaluation. And after completion of the program, we have to follow up study. Follow up study examine long-term effect of a program. Long-term effect. After completion of the program, researchers must be in touch with the beneficiaries or respondents or farmers. This study asks questions about long-term impacts. These are what were the impacts of our programs, and what was most useful to participants, and what are the long-term effects. Long-term effects of our program on the community and on the society and on the a big area and on the overall life and socio and economic status of our respondents. And we have to know from the help of this follow-up study about the long-term effect of the project. So this is very important thing. Sorry, that we have to must include this follow-up study for the program. Now, assessing the feasibility of implementing an evolution study, assessing and feasibility of a program evaluation helps ensure that the program can be meaningfully evaluated. Meaningfully evaluated that the evaluation will contribute to improving program design and performance. Design and performance are very important. This may not be an appropriate time to implement an evolution study. This is come from the implementing an evolution study by assessing the feasibility. Sorry. Is there an important decision to be made on the basis of the evaluation or commitment to use the evaluation findings? feasibility is also important for does the program have enough impact on important of warrant formal evaluation? Is this one-time program? Will we program out continue? Is the cost of the program so low that an evaluation is unnecessary? It is likely that the evaluation will provide valid and reliable information. That evaluation will meet acceptable standards or priorities. These are the some important things which are much more important to assess the feasibility of implementing the program, and then have to know about the key stakeholders. Key stakeholders. Key stakeholders are people who have a stake or a vested interest in the evaluation findings. They can be program funders who have given the fund to the program. They may have the staff of our program, uh, administration also, clients of programs, participants are also stakeholders of our program. It is important to clarify the purpose and procedure of an evaluator with the key stakeholders before beginning, because this program can help, this process can help in determining the type of evaluation needed and point to additionally regions for evaluation that may prove even more protective than those originally suggested. With the stakeholders, some type of agreements with the stakeholders are required, which are what program will be evaluated, the purpose of the evaluation, goals and objectives of program, indicators and criteria, question and issues. The evaluation will address who will participate in evaluation, what will be the budget, and how much will be time available for the evaluation, and what will be the role of the evaluator, and who will receive the evaluation results. These all are very important, which we must have agreement with our stakeholders, and clarify questions, evaluation questions, issues, indicators, and criteria. Evaluation are conducted to answer specific questions, to address programmatic issues, to plan for future program, and to apply criteria to judge value or worth of an existing program. So we must have to know the basic steps which are required for selecting questions, issues, indicators, and criteria. Therefore, we have to list out the questions, issues, and criteria from all the sources, from different experts. This is very important of selecting questions. Coming to agreement on indicators. Indicators are variables also. Variable is an operational representation of an attributes. What are these attributes? These attributes are quality attributes, characteristics attributes, and property attributes of a system. And indicators are observable phenomena that point towards the intended and actual conditions of situations, program outcomes, and helps gauge the performance of natural system as well as human endeavors. And, an indicator is a markable that can be observed to show that something has changed. Something has changed. Indicators can help and people to notice changes at early stage of program impact. What are these characteristics or of indicators? These are the that relevant to the objectives of the program to be evaluated and understandable. That is to say, simple and ambiguous, realizable. conceptually well founded, limited in number, and can be updated at a regular interval. Because updation is very important for better results. And then criteria for choosing the indicators. This criteria is very also important. Also, it is your criteria must be measurable. Your indicators are also measurable, and it is relevant and easy to use. And don't it provide a presentative pictures, and it is easy to interpret, and does it show trend over time? It is responsible to change. These are very much important criteria for choosing an indicators. Uh, as per the program level, some indicators are very selective, for which we have to discuss the Vinet's hierarchy of evidence. What is this? Evidence hierarchy of evidence provides a way to conceptualizing the relationship between program objectives and outcomes at different program levels, different programs levels. What are these levels? For example, at end results, our indicators must be change in participants' personal and working lives as a results of program participation. And in program level, practice and behavioral change, indicator must be change in participants' practices as a result of program participation. And knowledge, attitude, skill, change in participants' knowledge, change in participants' attitude, their skills and aspirations as a result of program participation. This much, this must be indicate as per program level. And reactions, how participants and clientele reacted to the program, and participation, who participate and how many times. Is the participation was active, or the participation was direct? Is the program participation indirect? And different activities. For different activities, indicators are activities that participation were engaged in through the program, the kinds of information and methods used to interact with program participants, and at the program inputs. Indicators, simple, the personal and other resources used during the program. This is very simple. And in the step fifth, when approaches to data collection, there are two basic types of data collection: quantitative and qualitative. Quantitative data tend to focus on numerical data, while qualitative data are expressed in words. Quantitative methods may measure, say, finite number of pre-specific outcomes and are appropriate for judging effects, attributes, cause, comparison, or ranking, classification, and generalizing resources. Methods must be suitable for large scale objects, useful for judging cause and effects, acceptable as credible, applicable for a generalizing to a larger population. And qualitative methods take many forms, including rich description of people's places and conservational and behavior. The open-ended nature of qualitative methods allow the persons being interviewed to answer questions from his or her own perspective. Qualitative methods appropriate for understanding the content in which program takes place, complex problems and process issues, clarify relationship between program objectives and implementation. Qualitative methods must be appropriate for identifying unintended consequences of a program, gathering descriptive information, understanding operations and effects of program, in-depth analysis of program impact. This is important to know the quantitative methods and qualitative methods which are required for evaluating the projects. And there are some multiple methods also which are important to understand complex social phenomena, allow for gather uh, different types of informations which are required for the uh, evaluation of our projects. And the quality of evidence are very important. Two types of qualities. These are validity of data and reliability of data. The validity and reliability of the data collection instrument determine the quality of evidence for quantitative method. What is validity? The data collection instrument measures what it is supposed to measure, and data collected are relevant to the specific situation or audience. Quality clearly define what is supposed to be measured. Locate or develop item to include in your instrument. Prepare a rough draft. Choose a panel of experts. Panel of experts must be from the field of your project. To review the instrument, panel of experts is very much more important for deciding the validity of your instrument. Revise instrument based on the suggestions of experts, and then field test of clarity, content, wording, and length, and revise instrument if necessary for its validity. And reliability, the data collection instruments measures consistently, yielding the same results with the same groups of people under the same conditions. This is the reliability. Reliability carry out a pilot test with a small group of people who have characteristics similar to those of your target audience, but not same. Reliability re-administer the same instrument to the same group a week later and compare the results. Your softwares are available to conduct reliability tests, and then revise questions or items. They produce inconsistent results. You may need to revert some questions, add some items, or delete certain questions to enhance reliability of your test. This is important. And some data collection techniques. Data collection techniques are for quantitative methods, existing information, testing information and knowledge, telephone survey, mail survey, group administered questionnaires, and qualitative methods are focus group, rapid role appraisal, RRA, case study, semi-structured interview schedules, participants observations, existing information. What is it? Before you start to collect data, check to see what information already exists. Pre-existing information can be found in documents, reports, program records, historical accounts, minutes of meetings, letters, photographs, census data, and different kinds of survey. This existing information is very important for establishing the need for a program, describing how the program was carried out and who is reached, assessing results. So there are some merits also of existing information. In most cases, it is readily available. It can be obtained with a nominal cost and effort. Data with a wide variety of characteristics available. It can be assessed on a continuous basis. It can have high credibility like that. And testing information and knowledge. Test can be used as a tool to measure the level of knowledge, understanding, and ability that an individual possesses related to a particular program. And what are its benefits? It can provide an indicator of knowledge. It to relatively easy to implement. It can be carried out in a group setting. It tend to be low cost. Yes, low cost also. Survey. Survey may have telephonic survey, mail survey, personal survey, and it has also some importance also. And the surveys are a very popular method to collecting evaluation data and require a careful design questionnaire administered by the mail, telephone, or personal mail like that. And the survey can be used to collect data on a particular knowledge, attitude, and skill of the our participants. It can also help in responsibility of the evaluator to ensure that ethical standards are maintained. This means that participants participation is voluntarily and survey results are made public in a way that maintains confidentially. It is also important. It permits fairly complex questions. It allows for anything to respond improperly. Also cost and moderate. It's cost is not so much. It is to reach a large number of people, and survey are useful when the population is widely uh, dispersed. At that time, we can survey with the help of telephone. Telephone survey consists of a written questionnaire also. Yes, written questionnaire that is read to a selected group of people over the telephone. The survey sample is often selected from a telephone directory or other lists. People on the list are interviewed one at a time over the phone because it has so many advantages. They can be used when respondents are widely dispersed geographically and they tend to have a high response rate. They can address more complex questions and mail questionnaires, provide a quick and efficient source of data. Selection of a specific respondents is easier to control than with a mail survey. So telephone survey is very important, which is uh, very easy to collect the data because nowadays we know that every person having their own mobile phone and the seat of telephone interview must be very simple and the data collector must know about all the questions in series which are required to respond from our respondents. And in mail survey, a mail survey is the most frequently used type of survey in evolution of extension programs and require the least resources. And the personal survey means face-to-face survey, which are conducted by taking individual to respondents and systematically recording their answer to each questions. There is also so many benefits. It can be used with a highly dispersed population suited for population where a representative sample cannot be drawn. Yes, where representative sample cannot be drawn, we have to go for personal survey. Then used where there is a low literacy rate. If our respondents are illiterate, for illiterate persons, we have to do personal survey. personal survey, because it depends on the surveyor, his skills to stretch out the answers of the questions which we have related to their project. It is a high degree of control over who answered the survey. Interviewer can encourage the willingness of respondents to answer questions. Visual aids can be used to facilitate understanding of survey questions. So personal survey are very important for data collection. Creating quality survey, avoiding errors. Some surveys are more accurate than other. Why? Accuracy means that survey results closely represent the population from which the sample has been drawn. Accuracy can be caused by several types of errors, including coverage error, sampling error, selection error, frame error, non-response error, and measurement errors also. The cause of error for coverage error is sampling frame does not include all elements of the population. And how can we control this error? We control the coverage error by redraw list from which the sample is drawn to include all elements of the population. And for sampling error, increase the size of the sample. Yes, for sampling error, we have to increase the size of sample. Use random sampling. And for selection error, use random sampling. And for frame error means list is inaccurate or some sampling units are omitted. So for controlling frame error, use up-to-date accurate list. Up-to-date accurate list. Sometimes there are non-responsive errors. When subject can't be located or fail to respond. And to control the non-response error, compare early to late respondents. If no difference is appropriate, results can be generalized to large population. Must contact about 10% of non-respondents and gather data from them. Compare this data with the respondents. If no difference is apparent, results can be generalized to the larger population. And sometimes measurement errors also there. A respondent's answer is inaccurate or imprecise or cannot be compared to any useful way to other respondents' answer. This may be caused by unclarity stated questions, unclear instruments, or respondents given socially correct responses, not knowing the correct information or deliberately lying. Why lying? Maybe so many reasons. For controlling the measurement error, we have to choose appropriate method of data collection. Write clear, unambiguous questions that people can and want to answer. Train your interviewers carefully. Use valid and reliable instrument. When you use valid and reliable instrument, there may be very less chances of measurement error. So these are some types of errors. We have to pre-testing evaluation instrument. For pre-testing the instrument, we have to ask, are the issues to be discussed, the questions to be asked, the words to be used clear and ambiguous? In pre-testing, we have to ask, either technique or instrument appropriate for the people being interviewed or observed. We have to ask, are instruments for the interviewed or observed easily to follow? Are the techniques and the forms of the recording information clear and easy to use? Yes. We also ask, are procedures standardized? We have to ask, will the technique or instrument provides the necessary information? And we have to ask, that the technique or instrument provide reliable and valid information using the criteria for the chosen data and collection approaches. Uh, we have to discuss the different steps to focus group interview also. Group interview and focus group. What is focus group? A focus group is a small group, typically 8 to 12 people only, who are relatively homogeneous, which is selected to discuss a specific topic in a non-threatening atmosphere. So size of focus group is 8 to 2 people. It is also some useful benefits, like it is easy to set up, fast and relatively expensive. It can reduce the distance between project personnel and intended beneficiaries. So the steps require, first one is, consider your purpose for conducting a focus group interviews. Identify the users of the information generated by the focus group. Develop a tentative plan, include time required and resources needed. Identify the questions to ask in the interview. What type of questions you need to ask? And then arrange the meeting place. Very simple. Identify and contact potential participants by sending a personalized invitation. This is very important. Your personal touch is required. Then identify a trend, moderate, and edge assistant to conduct the focus group interview. Moderator role is very important in focus group interview. So our moderator must be very, very important and loyal. Arrange for a meeting room. Check the sitting and table arrangements. These are simple things, but very important. Then conduct focus group interview and immediately follow the interview. The moderator and assistants discuss the experience of their perceptions and analyze results and prepare short report. Share findings with the stakeholders. So these are the steps to a focus group interview. Its series can not be disturbed. Then sampling or evaluation. Sampling or evaluation is also very important, because sample size Sometimes in our research works, what we do, we do sample size 120, 150, 200, 240, like that. What in real way, with whom we interviewed, from whom we collect the data. So sampling for evaluation is very important. What is sampling? A sample is a set of respondents selected from a larger population for the purpose of a survey. This is very simple, we know. When done properly, the sample represents the characteristics of the population as a whole. And sampling survey, time, money, material, and efforts without sacrificing accuracy and size. Sampling for evaluation having 5 steps. And first step is define the population, what the population size, how varied in the population. Second one is define how much sampling error can we tolerate and choose and execute the sampling plan, decide on the sample size, draw conclusions based on sampling information, and infer conclusions back to the total population. Back to the total population. So these are the 5 steps which are required for sampling or evaluation. Sampling size, how large should be sample be? A sample size of 100 respondents is often cited as a minimal number for a large population. The practical maximum size is about 1000 respondents. Generally, a sample of fewer than 30 respondents will not provide enough certainty to prove useful. However, several factors needed to be considered when determining actual sample size. These are like characteristics of population. It is the amount of variability in the population to be sampled. A relatively homogeneous population may permit a smaller sample size. Conversely, a more heterogeneous one may require a large population size. Sampling error, the difference between an estimate taken from the population and that taken from the sample. When the sample method is used to gather the data, sampling error is larger. When the sample size is small, it is therefore advisable to use the larger sample, possibly given the constants on time, money and material. And degree of perception measures the degree to which an estimate approximate the estimate obtained from total population. Assuming the same method of data collecting was used. In designing a sample, the evaluation may begin by defining the degree of precision design. Then margin of error, it is matter of choice depending on the objective of the quantity. If we want to be relatively safe about our conclusions, then a 5% margin of error is acceptable. In general, more subjects are needed for 0.01 alpha test than a 0.05 alpha test. And total test requires a larger sample size that is one-tailed. Confidence level, the probability that a value in the population is within a specific numeric range when compared with the corresponding value computed for the sample. Generally, a 95% confidence level will give the security needed to draw conclusions for the larger population based on the sample. In cost, a small sample size reduce cost very Simple. Cost must be small. Sampling techniques, so many simple techniques are random probability sample, simple random sampling, systematic sampling, stratified sampling, cluster sampling, matrix sample, purposive sample, accidental sample, reputational sample. These all are relates with our studies which are requires to evaluate the our research projects, and then analyze and interpret the data, and the various kinds of data analysis exist for both qualitative and quantitative data. You should consider whether the analysis would provide the information needed to answer the questions possessed by the evaluation, and the analytical skill the evaluator possesses. Qualitative data analysis scales of measurements, nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. Nominal, mutually exclusive, and logical exclusive categories. Example: merits, real status, married and unmarried, gender, male, female, group membership. There are different types of groups in rural conditions. Is he a member of any self-help group, farmers group, cooperative group, mandi group, FPO, and a religious affiliations. Ordinal measurements ranked or ordered, ranked first, second, third, like that, and ordered letter grade, social class, attitudinal variables, and intervals ranked and ordered in standard unit measurements like years of age, your respondents group, degree, calendar years, scores on a test and IQ, and some scales measurements are ratio and interval scale with an absolute zero starting point. For example, age, education, time, length, weight, like that.
Non niente che lei mi ha già ma solito. Sì.
Come on, the applying and using the findings. Findings to make decision about program conditions. The program will be stopped or will be continuous. To improve ongoing programs. To plan future programs and to inform program stockholders. Stockholders, different categories of stockholders. A final step of evaluating the evaluation is conceptual clarity, description of objects to be evaluated, recognition and representation of legitimate audience, sensitivity to political problem in evaluation, specification of information needs and sources, comprehensive and inclusive of data, technical adequacy. Did the evaluation design and procedures need information that meets? Appropriate method and analysis. Consideration of costs. Did the evaluation adequately consider cost factors along with other variables? Explicit standards, standards and criteria for judging the evaluation, judgment and or recommendations made by evaluation, reports tailored to audiences, where the evaluation reports provides at appropriate time and in appropriate formats to the appropriate audience. So evaluating evaluation different little form from the actual process of the evaluation itself. It must meet the standards and follow similar steps as the original evaluation. So this is all about evaluation of extension programs. We have discussed about what is evaluation, why evaluation, role of evaluator, steps to evaluation. Step to evaluation, 10 steps are there. Again, I would like to repeat all these stages. Identify and describe the proposed adjusting program, identify phase in program, type of evaluation study, and assess the feasibility of implementation, identify and consult key stakeholders, identify approaches to data collection, select data collection technique, identify population and select sample, collect, analyze and interpret data, communicate findings, and last one is apply and use findings. So evaluation of the extension research project, we have to follow all these 10 steps. Thanks for you all for your attention. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for a nice presentation.
Thank you, sir. Now I have very little time with me. So if anyone having one or two questions, please ask. Yes, Myra. डिस्प्ले नहीं बता, दूसरा मशीन लगा लीजिए.
Hello, any questions? One or two, then we have to join at 11:30 again for second session, please.
पाँच मिनट रुक जाइए अभी आप.
Any questions, please?
पाँच मिनट हेलो, अब बैठ जाइए यहाँ पर. हाँ रे.
Sir, I don't think today we have any questions with participants.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for this lovely presentation. Thank you, sir. Now
Thank
we can
you very
all
much,
leave the meeting. Thank you.